tantalize the American dirt bike press with the unveiling of its all-new, electric start, Wi-Fi-equipped 2018 Yamaha YZ450F about a month ago, and we haven't stopped drooling over the photos and technical specifications of the bike since then. So, when Yamaha offered us the chance to sample these for ourselves to see if we thought it had a chance at regaining the top spot in the 450cc motocross class, we jumped at the chance, which came on an event-like date at the world-famous Glen Helen Raceway in Southern California. The 2018 Yamaha YZ450F is new, but two changes really take center stage. The first is that the bike now features electric start as a standard item, like KTM, Husqvarna and now Honda. This does away with the Kickstarter altogether. However, if you read our preview of the 2018 YZ450F, you already know that its electric starting system is completely different than the one used on Yamaha's successful WR and FX off-road models. A tiny, 1.5-pound, 2.4Ah/13.2-volt lithium-ion battery powers the starter, which is mounted behind a reverse inclined cylinder that is positioned to 2 degrees more upright in the chassis than previous YZ450Fs. Just the push of a handlebar-mounted button is all it takes to bring the news to life. If anything, it starts even more readily than some of the bikes that beat it to the punch with electric start. Warm-up time through these all-new Mikuni 44mm throttle body is also minimal. The new throttle body's cold start button has a nifty feature in that it only needs to be pushed in by hand but not pulled back out in by hand. Activating the cold start opens the throttle to a detented position, and cancelling the cold start is a simple matter of blipping the throttle. Yamaha fitted the 2018 YZ450F's fuel-injected, stock engine with new intake and exhaust cams that feature higher lift profiles, which lift the intake valves 0.5 mm and the exhaust valves 0.4 mm farther of their seats to draw in more air. Both feature more duration, and there is also more valve overlap, the amount of time that both intake and the exhaust valves remain open simultaneously. The increased overlap also favors high RPM power, as the exiting exhaust gases effectively help to draw in the incoming fuel charge. The remedy for that, however, was as simple as whipping out our cell phone and wirelessly dialing in these 4x4 grid fuel injection and ignition maps with the new Yamaha PowerTuner iOS and Android app, a powerful tool that offers more than just quick mapping changes. There's also a log function that allows users to make notes about track location, track conditions, bike settings and more, which creates an electronic database for easier tuning when a rider returns to a given track. The app also keeps tabs on data such as engine RPM, throttle position and engine coolant temperature, and its maintenance function and customizable trip meters makes it easier to know exactly when this is ready for such routine maintenance as an oil change or other fix-it items determined by the owner. Using settings created by Yamaha test rider Travis Preston and Yamaha engineer Stephen Vincent, we fattened up the fuel injection and recalibrated the ignition curve. The operation was a simple matter of swapping one set of the values for the other in a matter of seconds. As Yamaha told us that the 2018 YZ450F makes 3 more horsepower at 6,000 revolutions per minute and 3 more horsepower at 9,000 revolutions per minute than the 2017 did. The 2018 is clearly a thundering 450cc machine, and we have no doubt that it will, once again, be in the hunt for top honors in the moto department. Yamaha has also made a number of changes to the clutch and transmission of the 2018 YZ450F. The clutch is still cable-operated, but Yamaha worked hard to increase the clutch feel by revamping the pressure plate so that its rib shape and thickness is changed. The new pressure plate features slightly decreased center rigidity and slightly increased outer surface rigidity. To enhance the clutch's silky feel, these steel clutch plates are also surface ground on both sides rather than on just one side as they were on past models. New clutch springs also boast straighter alignment when the clutch lever is pulled. The 2018 YZ450F's 5-speed transmission has also been beefed up, with 1 mm wider second, third and fourth gears. The shift lever and shift selector drum have also been updated to give a more direct feel at the lever when changing gears. One other surprise to us was that, for a company that seemed to leave few stones unturned to make a statement with its all-new 450cc machine, Yamaha sure left a lot of the character of the 2017 YZ450F's bilateral beam aluminum chassis in the 2018 YZ450F. Visually, there's no mistaking one for the other, as the new chassis features much straighter and flatter spars in the airbox area, and the rails are extruded rather than hydro-formed. Its tension pipes, the cross-brace pieces that form the triangle above the engine, are much longer than on the 2017 model. Yamaha did this to tune the 2018 chassis for more balanced flex than the 2017, which is intended to make it more compliant on rough tracks. The chassis is also narrower to help eliminate some of the bulky feel that some our test riders complained about during the 2017 450cc motocross shootout. To improve the 2018 steering, the steering pipe has been moved 6 mm forward while the triple clamp offset was increased from 22 mm to 25 mm and trail was increased 3 mm to 121 mm. On the track, however, Garvin reported that the 2018 YZ450F still handles a lot like the 2017 model did. This is stable, but the front end tends to meander a bit at high speeds, and while turn-in has improved, it's still not all that easy to get the new chassis to follow a rut. The more flexible feel is also noticeable, although not necessarily all that welcome. Some of the steering feel may have to do with the latest version of the YZ's 48mm kib speed-sensitive system spring fork. It's one of our favorites of all time, but Yamaha revised the specs and settings of the latest version in order to get it to work with the new chassis. That included increasing the cylinder and piston size from 24mm to 25mm and changing the mid-speed valve spring design from a coil spring to a leaf spring. The pressure piston shape was also changed and features additional holes to help pass oil for a smoother feel. Out on the track, however, Garvin noted that the fork had a tendency to feel plush initially, but there was some mid-stroke harshness that lends to the steering shake and can be hard on the rider's hands when the bike is being ridden aggressively over the course of a long moto. As for the rear, Garvin had no complaints about the 2018 YZ450F's kib piggyback shock and rising rate linkage rear suspension, which handily soak up stutter bumps, braking bumps and blend Helen's classic square edges with equal efficiency. Of course, so did last year's model, but Yamaha nevertheless made changes to meet the needs of the 2018's new chassis and enhanced suspension feel. The shock body sub-tank capacity has been increased 30 cc, and the oil flow has been increased in an effort to offer more even and controlled damping. The shock spring is made of thinner material, which also helps reduce the spring weight by 4.8% to 210 grams. The spring rate is also stiffer than the 2017, 58 Nm/m compared to 56 Nm/m. One of our biggest gripes about the 2017 Yamaha YZ450F had to do with its ergonomics, which were influenced by its wide-feeling chassis. For 2018, Yamaha really tried to address the cockpit by a number of changes. Of course, since the chassis is narrower through the middle, 10 mm at the spars and 6 mm down by the swing arm pivot, Yamaha also designed all new bodywork to capitalize on it and give the rider more room to move. The theme is carried out a few ways, including slimmer radiators that allow the shrouds to be tucked in closer to the frame, a narrower seat and a flatter slope from the front of the seat to the rear fender. Garvin said the changes are definitely noticeable,